To me, entrepreneurship is about creating change, not just creating companies.
Movies and pop culture just get this all wrong. The idea of a single eureka moment is a dangerous lie.
In a world that's changing so quickly, the biggest risk you can take is not taking any risk.
Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, make mistakes.
So many things go wrong when you're starting a company, and often I think people ask, what mistakes should you avoid making? And my answer to that question is don't even bother trying to avoid mistakes because you're going to make tons of mistakes, right? And the important thing is actually learning quickly from whatever mistakes you make and not giving up. Right, and I mean, there are things every single year of Facebook's existence that could have killed us or made it so that it just seemed like moving forward and making a lot of progress just seemed intractable, but you just kind of bounce back and you learn, and nothing is impossible. You just have to kind of keep running through the walls.
Rule number 2, create change.
To me, entrepreneurship is about creating change, not just creating companies. And the most effective entrepreneurs who I've met care deeply about some mission and some change that they're trying to create, and often they don't even start because they're trying to create a company, right? And that's how I think about my connection to all of us here is when I was getting started, I cared deeply about giving everyone a voice, right, and giving people the tools to share everything that they cared about, and bringing a community together. And it started small in one university, and I didn't think it was going to be a company at the time. As a matter of fact, I was pretty convinced that at some point someone would build something like this for the world, but I thought that would be some other company that already had thousands of engineers and was used to building stuff for hundreds of millions of people around the world. And what ended up happening was that no one built it, right? So we just kind of kept on going, right? I mean, people said at each step along the way, what you're doing, all right, maybe college students like it, but no one else is going to like it. And, there's not going to be any money in doing this. So, all right, so you only really do it if you care, right? If you're passionate about doing it. And then it started growing, and people said it would be a fad and it would never be a good business. But, you keep going because you care, not because you're trying to create a business. And then there's the shift to mobile, where people thought that it wouldn't be a sustainable business. And through each of these things, the entrepreneurs who I think build things that last for a long time keep going because they care fundamentally about the change that they're trying to create in the world, and they're not in it just to build a company.
Rule number 3, just get started.
Ideas don't come out fully formed. They only become clear as you work on them. You just have to get started. If I had to know everything about connecting people before I got started, I never would have built Facebook. Movies and pop culture just get this all wrong. The idea of a single eureka moment is a dangerous lie. It makes us feel inadequate because we feel like we haven't had ours yet. And it prevents people with seeds of good ideas from ever getting started in the first place.
Rule number 4, be proud of what you do.
But if we've given the world a voice, look at what's happened in the last year. You've had elections in the last years, elections manipulated, hate speech that's gone viral and turned offline. It certainly seems like this mission has been accomplished in many ways, and there's a whole new set of problems that perhaps you guys didn't foresee. And now we're in a very complicated place where there's not an easy solution.
Yeah, these are complex issues that you can't fix. You manage them on an ongoing basis. But look, do you think that the world is better with everyone having a voice and having the ability to express their opinion and being able to connect to who they want? I don't think we're going back to a world where there were just a handful of gatekeepers who got to control what ideas get expressed.
But Facebook's a new gatekeeper. And
even if we could, well, I'm trying to make it so that we're not. I mean, that's why making it so that we're building these independent governance mechanisms and things like that are really important, and that's work that I really care about. But I think that the world will keep on moving in this direction. More people will keep on getting a voice. I think that that's good, and I think there are certainly going to be issues that we need to work through over time. But I think that while we are doing that, we can't lose sight of all of the really positive things that are happening here as well. Not just in terms of communities and people being able to connect with groups that are really meaningful to them, whether it's around a disease or a community around veterans that they wouldn't be able to connect to otherwise. But even if you just think about the economic impact of what we're doing, we serve 80 million small businesses around the world. About half of them have told us that they're hiring people because of using our tools, and that without Facebook and the tools that we provide, that their business would be significantly smaller and they wouldn't be hiring as many people as they are. So, a study came out. The U.S. economy added about 4.5 million jobs over the last year. If you just look at what people are telling us, the small businesses who use our tools, we've directly been able to contribute to creating many more jobs than that across the world. So I think that this is the power of giving people a voice, giving small businesses, giving communities, giving everyone everywhere the ability to connect with the people who they care about and get their opinion across, and giving everyday people the power that previously only big companies would have had. So that's it. The world is going to go more in that direction, and I think by and large that's a good thing. So I'm really proud of the work that we're doing on this, and there are big issues, and I'm not trying to say that there aren't that we need to work through, but I do think that sometimes you can get the flavor from a lot of this, from some of the coverage that that's all there is, and I don't think that that's right either. We need to make sure that we address these questions. These are really big and important things for the future of our society and the future of the internet. But we also need to keep pushing in the direction of empowering more people, because that's good.
Rule number 5, take risks.
In a world that's changing so quickly, the biggest risk you can take is not taking any risk. And I really think that that's true, right? I mean, a lot of people, I think that, whenever it comes to, whenever you get yourself into a position where you have to make some big shift in direction or do something, there are always people are going to point to the downside risks of that decision. And locally, they're maybe right? I mean, for any given decision that you're going to make, there's upside and downside. But in aggregate, if you are stagnant and you don't make those changes, then I think you're guaranteed to fail, right? And not catch up. So to some degree, I think it's really right that over time, the biggest risk that you can take is to not take any risks.
And rule number 6, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is take on big challenges.
Facebook is a for-profit company. Why call it .org? Is this a nonprofit? Is this charity?
If we were primarily focused on profits, the most reasonable thing for us to do would be to really just focus on the first billion people who are using our products. I mean, the world isn't set up equally, and the first billion people who are using Facebook have way more money than the rest of the world combined. So from a business perspective, it actually doesn't make a huge amount of sense for us to put the emphasis in this that we are right now. The reason why we're doing it is 2 things. One is mission, right? I mean, we're here to help connect the world, and we take that really seriously. And to some degree, you can't really do that if 2/3 of the world doesn't even have access to the internet. So, we just turned 10 as a company, and we decided that in our next 10 years, we want to take on some really big challenges in the world, like helping everyone get online. And that's just an important thing for us, and I think for a lot of other internet companies and fulfilling this mission overall. Now, over the long term, I do think it could be good for our company as well, if you look at it in a 10, 20, 30-year time horizon, because a lot of these countries and economies will develop, and over time, they will be important.
Now, I've got a special bonus clip from Mark that I think you're going to enjoy, but before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Time to move from just watching another video to taking action in your life or business. And if you're feeling bold, leave your answers in the comments below. Here we go. Question number 1. What big challenge do you need to take on? Number 2, what are you most proud of in what you do? And number 3, what do you just need to get started on?
But the students around me were really important as well, right? And both in high school and in college, I mean, the people who started Facebook with me, and a lot of people who are still with me running the company today, are people who I met when I was at Harvard. And some of them were my TFs at Harvard, right? And when the professors were off writing papers, these were the people who actually taught me, and then we hung out, and we had social bonds and academic bonds, and I wouldn't understate the importance of that. And I mean, it's very tied into my whole philosophy and
the product that I spent my life building, Facebook, because we just believe that social bonds are critical. And one way that I think about the value that Facebook is filling in the world is that you go through school, and at least when I did, people just focused on academics, like achievement, different areas. And one of the things that no one really ever taught me was like having friends is really valuable. Now, not that I didn't have friends, but like, although the movie,
yes,
make it seem that but
that first girlfriend.
But for sure, I don't think anyone is like. It's not like, okay, third grade, we're gonna teach you that like hanging out with people is a very important development, right? And I don't know, I actually think that is. And I think that's part of the reason why sometimes people view Facebook as a waste of time, but I actually think it's this extremely socially valuable utility. And I know that I wouldn't be where I am today without that aspect of my life being as developed as the academic part.
If you want to learn the story of Mark's Facebook success, check the video there right next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
I didn't think at all that it was going to be a company. I remember very specifically the night that we launched the first version. I went out to